Welcome back, everyone. It is now time for InCoax Networks to present with the CEO, Jörgen Ekengren. Welcome, Jörgen.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Jörgen Ekengren, the CEO of InCoax Networks since almost 2 years now. InCoax Networks consist of approximately 25 employees. We have 2 sites, one in Lund, one in Gävle, and then we work with external partners, mainly in software and hardware development. We provide fiber access extension solutions to world-leading telecom and broadband service providers. To summarize, we have a solution that provides from a consumer perspective, a fiber to the home experience. But with our solution, we use the coaxial networks in the buildings, and we mainly address MDUs, multi-dwelling units, in order to achieve that fiber extension. I will explain more about that later on. During 2021, we have made a commercial breakthrough. We have ramped up a customer, an operator in the US called Google Fiber. We also signed a master purchasing agreement with this operator in December. And this is a very important milestone for us, for the future business. We see macro-wise a huge opportunity for this solution. And there are hundreds of millions of households actually that can be addressed with this solution. So the market is really there. We have also presented new financial targets a couple of weeks ago, where we say that for 2022 we intend to double our sales compared to 2021. This based on a business plan done bottom up, consists of approximately 10 operators and the service integrators, system integrators, I should say. For 2023, we expect further growth, and we have set a conservative objective of at least 50% growth relative to 2022. But then we have actually excluded one of the absolutely biggest business opportunities that we are working on right now. We also focus on over time increase our software content in our sales, which then also will contribute to better gross margins and also a lower working capital in the company and nice balance here. What we see in the world is a very big investment going on in the fiber infrastructure. And this investment tend to just go on, and is also heavily subsidized in many markets by governments and so on. So that is really something that creates additional market opportunities over time for a very long period of time going forward, actually. So fiber networks are really there. Then, of course, from an operator standpoint, they all face some challenges. The main strategy for an operator is normally, of course, to pull that fiber as far as possible to the households. But for different reasons, this is not always possible. And there are showstoppers, meaning that an operator cannot always connect a subscriber to this network. And that is, of course, something that all people want to overcome. And our solution really provides an opportunity for the operator to make sure that all the subscribers are also connected to the fiber networks that are being built. as I said, this opportunity is huge. So actually, we are addressing with this solution hundreds of millions of apartments or customers through the operators. We focus on some high-cost markets or highly developed markets with high labor cost, where it's also very expensive to pull the fiber all the way to a subscriber and household, especially if it's a bigger MDU. So therefore, we especially look into markets like United States, Germany, and United Kingdom. Principal solution, we connect our so-called DPU, most of the time placed in the basement or in a pedestal outside, and then connect the in-property coaxial network to our system, and then take back the signal in each apartment through a modem. The disruptive thing with our solution is that we can also provide this fiber experience to the customers or the subscribers, as our solution admits for gigabit or multi-gigabit speeds. And also many other performance data are very much competitive and in line, or at least for the current needs of a consumer, very competitive and fiber-like, I would say. So this will not go through all the details here, but this is a comparison between different solutions for connecting a household. And we have fiber, we have fiber LAN, we have our solution, which is based on the Mokka platform. There are two other platforms called GFast and GHN. So performance-wise, we have a very good score in a chart like this, and also cost-wise, we have a very good and competitive cost. We're not competing with full fiber to the home. Of course, an operator normally want to pull the fiber as far as possible, but as I said, many times this is not possible. So we want to see ourselves as a complement to full fiber to the home, and a tool in the operator's toolbox in order to make sure they can connect as many subscribers as possible to the network. So cost efficient and sustainable, I want to stress also, as we are reusing, I would claim we're contributing to a sustainable solution. And the good thing here is also then that this solution provides multi-gigabit speed. The added value that we create for different players here in the chain is, of course, for operators. They can achieve a lot of connections within a short time, because our solution is very simple and quick to install, which means then a short time to revenue, and also a low investment increase the ROI for the operator. For the residents, it's very much obvious. They get connected to the fiber networks and can get multi-gigabit broadband quickly. For building owners, this is also a big advantage, because there's normally no or less impact on the buildings. For installation companies, this is also an advantage, because it's a very fast deployment, and these companies can also increase their business based on this. Currently, we have deployments in the Nordics. We are in Germany, with Spain, United Kingdom, and in the US. Some macro data here. There's a KPI called homes passed, meaning how many homes are passed by the fiber in a fiber network. And for US, you can see here that it's only 42% of all the homes that could have been connected to the fiber network that actually are connected. So 60% are kind of passed by the fiber. And this gap tend to increase over time, actually, because a lot of investments are, as I said, being done in further infrastructure built out. So the gap and the need of this last mile solution, fiber extension, is increasing. All operators, of course, are announcing their expansion programs. We have a similar picture for Europe, but here we should remember that the number of MDUs in absolute numbers in Europe is much higher than in the US. So a big opportunity for Europe. Few words about Google Fiber. We started 2020 summertime with lab tests and followed by field trials. Gradually received orders and follow-on orders. Also then in December we were awarded this master purchase agreement, which is kind of a receipt that we are now officially in the preferred supplier list of Google Fiber. So I really looking forward to further expansion, and I see great opportunities coming up here. Google Fiber are active in 19 big cities in the US from coast to coast. We have currently deployment in 9 of those cities. Then in parallel, we're working with a really big business opportunity. That's with one of the biggest operators in the US, actually also in the world. So that's a very long process and also high requirements that needs to be fulfilled. So a lot of development, mainly in software, in order to be able to win that type of business. We have come very far. We are now discussing the last step. We passed the field trials back in November. So we are right now discussing about the final step here. So this is really interesting. Here we're talking about an operator with potentially, for our solution, around 1.5, 1.6 million subscribers that could be installed. In parallel to that, we are also now testing our new product that we presented last year, D2501, with Google Fiber. And we are also preparing for further lab tests with more operators, and we just started lab tests with one EU-based operator. All operators, of course, announced a lot of expansion. So our strategy is, of course, then to go after these operators that have a big expansion plan, and in parallel to that, as we have limited resources, we are also building up an indirect sales with partners. Right now, we are spending a lot of efforts on a partner company called Technetics that we then intend to have an indirect sales starting off to a greater extent. So this is our strategy. Our business model, we don't manufacture ourselves. We specify and we let partners develop. Then we spend a lot of efforts on test and to verify the whole system. So that's our core competence, to know the operator's use case and also be able to make specifications. Then we focus on software, because that's really where we can differentiate and there we can make ourselves relevant. So software is key for opening up more segments in the operator market. So we have the strategy to gradually increase the revenue streams of course, hardware sales, but also in relation to hardware, we want to increase also the software and service sales. And we're working hard to develop these models and also find new ways to charge the customer. And the objective, of course, to end up in a longer cooperation and get these recurring revenues from the operators. There's quite a long process to be a supplier to an operator, but once you're in, you can also expect that this is a long-term business that we start up. Finally, we have a management team consists of different experiences from both Ericsson, Nokia, Telia. Board of directors, also a good combination of different experiences from hard and software and operator industry. So to summarize, we have done a commercial breakthrough. We see a huge opportunity going forward. We feel confident enough to launch new financial targets for this year and for next. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jörgen. I would like to kick off the Q&A with a question from the audience. How likely is it that you do sign a deal, however you define it, with the tier 1 operator, and how much is the deal worth in potential order value in amount of Swedish crowns? I don't know how much you feel comfortable disclosing about this and your thoughts.
Yeah, in this case, we have around 1.6 million subscriber opportunity. And if we then make a conservative calculation, we can multiply these 1.6 with $100 per subscriber. That is very conservative, but could rather be 140 as well. So, but let's say 100 is simple calculation. So
quite substantial.
then, of course, yes. Then this type of rollout goes on for several years. Of course, this will be spread out in time.
And yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, just a comment on. Yeah, I feel positive, really, about the next step. So likelihood, I cannot put a number, but I feel positive about the possibility to enter into the final step and then also be able to do the business.
So you've done successful field tests, lab tests, I mean, in that order, lab tests, field tests,
yeah.
And now it's productification, or what do you call it?
Yeah, productification, commercialization, and also, of course, this operator broadens the participants. Of course, very much about the product management team, the product team to involve and include this in the portfolio.
And are they also engaged in this, involved in this, your customer in this process?
Yes. So we have really had a quite huge participation from the operator side in these project activities. So that's also a good indicator, to me at least, that they're prepared to invest on their side as well in order to make this happen. So I'm positive.
Very interesting. Thank you. Okay. What separates? What's your unique? What's so unique about your solution and makes it stand out from other solutions out there?
As I mentioned, I think I mean what we're aiming for is, of course, to give the consumer a fiber experience, right? And as I said, operators, of course, their main strategy is to pull that fiber all the way to the end user. But when that is not possible, then the ambition is, of course, to provide a experience that is similar or same as if they were directly connected to the fiber network. So the special thing with our solution and the platform we use is that we really can deliver this multi-gigabit transmission, and that is fiber, right?
And obviously, Google Fiber didn't just pick you because you're Swedish and likable. They tested several solutions and picked you. And same for the tier one operator that have done all these tests with you successfully. So yeah, I believe that speaks for itself, basically.
Yeah, and then of course it's also ripples on the water, because even though Google Fiber is say mid-tier or tier 2 operator in the US, there are bigger operators, but they have really strong brands. I think many other operators are also following what they do and so on. So that creates ripple on the water. That also created more interest from other operators that are contacting with us.
Perfect. So one final question then, perhaps. What can you say about your progress in the US market and milestones ahead, and what that would mean to you going forward? Specifically, perhaps about other tier 1 customers.
Yeah, again, as I said before, I mean, if we can conclude on this tier 1 operator and convert that into sharp business, that of course will give a lot of attention from also other operators, both in the US and also Europe. We have many candidates that are suitable for this solution. So by creating such a reference, of course, I expect that there are more to come.
So like a domino effect, basically.
Then of course, but then of course, these operators are quite demanding. They have high requirements and they don't look exactly the same. So of course, we need to expect, in that case, also to enter into these type of processes. It takes time. A lot of customization needs to happen, even though very much is based on common standards. The problem is that different operators use different subsets of these standards, so it's not 100% similar. So that's the key to success, is of course to understand the operator's use case and convert that into solutions, mainly in our software then, in order to have a smooth integration into this operator's existing networks. So that's how it works, and that's how we can succeed, I think.
I see. So your strategy is going after the biggest elephants in the jungle. Of course, you need to put a lot of effort into each hunt, but that gives you also scalability in the long run. And of course, as you mentioned, touched upon in your presentation, your revenue going more from hardware, which is the kind of the heavy part today, to software and licenses.
Higher software and service content in our sales. That's clearly the objective. Yeah.
Once again, thank you very much, Jörgen, and best of luck.
Thank you.